on you. You get bullied. But I guess, as what I was talking about a little bit earlier, is I set myself up for it because I went out on Facebook anyways. I guess that's where you just go to get slaughtered by your friends, by your old, friends and family. Because if you speak your opinion, they're going to say awful things. I am not that type of person. I do not attack you personally and don't attack you personally when you post something. You will not find that from me. I may post something on my own and laugh at the candidate or the Speaker of the House or whatever, because it's in my heart, in my mind, in my opinion, it's absurd. That's insane that they're in those positions, that people actually voted for them, but they did. But I'm not saying personally to you hateful things. And this is why, you would think after everything that I just said, probably spending the last 10 minutes on it, well, then why go on Facebook, Bev? Well, then why would you go out in social media? Because I want to be aware. I want to see what's going on. My mom, I mentioned the newspaper. My mother was a beautiful stay-at-home mom her entire life. She ran that house like it was a business. She was president, CEO, chief cook, and bottle washer. But she read the paper cover to cover every day. And the reason why she did that, because I said to her once, I said, why do you do that? I mean, I'm a writer, I'm a reader, and I've been doing it and aware of it since I was 5. I had my first little story published when I was 5 years old in the school newspaper. Not why is she reading? Why is she reading the newspaper? And she said she wanted to keep up with my dad. She didn't want to seem like she wasn't aware. She didn't want to seem that just because she wasn't out in the world working in the professional sense, she wanted to stay smart and sharp right along with him. So that's why I do it. But there's so much hate and so much venom that is out there. And it's abusive. It's abusive to our hearts and minds. And then we say, that's it. I'm not going on Facebook anymore. I'm not doing it. And then you can't help it because you know that's where the action is. My daughters, who are now in their early 20s, used to make fun of me because, Facebook, it's nothing. It's for old people. And now everybody's out there again. And now it's become this place where, these opinion, like I said, these editorial, podcasters are out there and very sharp and very aware. And I'm informing myself that way. It's a cross between news and, their opinions. But what we're doing is, if we're not protective and we're not careful, we are abusing our temple. The one that God gifted us with. And we got to take a step back. We got to do better. If you really want to know the pulse of what's going on in the world, you got to look at the comment section under any post. There is so much hatred. It is mind-blowing. Like, people across the world finally have the opportunity to communicate with one another, and they're just abusing. There's so much venom. There's so much hate. And we act like we're going to live forever. We act like, I'm going to keep that forever. I didn't know that my marriage wasn't going to last forever. I have now had the opportunity to look at, I probably could have done this better, that better, whatever. But I thought I was going to be married forever. Both of my brothers died very close together in a couple of years within each other, and my sister-in-law. I mean this, and I'd already lost my parents and all my aunts and uncles and grandparents. So many people have died in my life. But I just didn't think that I was going to lose my brothers already. Like they would live forever. Like they were going to outlive me. And of course, I'm telling you this story. They didn't. So there's a lot of things that I wish that I would have said or done differently. And I didn't. And now I can't. I'm adjusting here. Sorry. So I guess today's message is a request to kind of push reset. Take a look at how you're speaking to people and what you're, when you say hateful words, it's saying them to yourself. Have you ever been in an argument and you really gave the best zinger you possibly could? Take that. And as soon as you said it, you wished you wouldn't have. And that is what's happening. I just like yesterday, I had an idea for a show and I had, some notes taken and things, and then something happened and it completely changed it. And it was a very blessed show. Got a lot of feedback from that, and I really want to thank you guys for listening to this show and for the messages. But today was going to be a different one, but isn't it funny? There was someone who said something to me on Facebook, and it really hurt my feelings, or pissed me off. No, it pissed me off. That's what it did. It didn't hurt me. It pissed me off because she got personal. She wasn't just saying something about my post. She got personal about, I am really having issues here. Okay. So I reacted and I deleted her as a friend, and, I don't have to listen to her no more, kind of thing. And, if that's how she really feels about me, me. When in fact, when something like that happens, they're the miserable one. And I can't believe it. I can't believe that the very lesson that I taught my daughters, hey, when somebody bullies you, it's their bad day. It's their environment they're coming from. Maybe things aren't so good at home. And it doesn't mean you have to take it, but it would serve you well to pray for them or give a good thought for them quietly. You don't have to take it. But you have to realize when they say mean things to you, it isn't really mean things to you. It's their misery. Just like I have a birthmark on my neck. I was born with it. And I was the only one in school with something like this. It's a big old red mark on the side of my neck. And kids will be kids, and they picked on me. We tried to cover it with makeup. You could still see it, but I wore makeup on it every day until I was 32. But that was something I couldn't change. And I remember once we went to this place. They were going to do, my mom and dad started taking me places to see what we could do, have done to have it taken off. And, dermabrasion, things like that. And the one place was going to do a skin graft. And the way that works is they take skin from one part of my body, which was my tush, my butt, my little behind, and they were going to take skin from there and they were going to put it on my neck. So what I would have had is a scar on my behind, and then still a different color of flesh on my neck. So funny when I'm telling you guys about it, I'm touching it on my neck here, but it would have been a scar for a scar. And my mom and dad, my mom was so upset, and they were at one part of the hallway, and then nurse came up to me, and she stooped down to my level, and she said to me, she goes, I want you to remember this day. And I don't have the date, but I know I was around 5 years old. And she says, I want you to remember this day. She said, who you are is not, your outer covering. And she took her finger and she pointed at, like right at my chest, and she said, who you are is inside. That's what makes up who you are. Your heart, your brain, how you see things, how you think about things. And I was looking back at her. She was a beautiful woman, and I was a little girl thinking, oh, I'll be a nurse just like her one day. And she said, I don't ever want you to forget that you can do to your outer casing, you can wear makeup, you can do whatever, but to go through this kind of pain, to have it removed, I think that you realizing what is inside is what's more important. And so I went through school, and I went through life of people always looking, always staring, little kids pointing, and mommy, they always thought it was a boo-boo, in the stores and stuff like that, because it's red. And even with makeup on it, it comes through. And the makeup would come off on clothes and stuff like that. And there just came a day when I had another opportunity to have it lasered off. I was in my early 30s. I had just had my oldest daughter. And I was going to these sessions, and they were doing this laser surgery. And what it does, and this is really disgusting, is it scabs up, and then the scab removes, and then it thins it out, and then you keep going back. And one time, she, unbeknownst to her, I think she was going on 2, and she grabbed it because she was so worried about it. And it almost sent me through the roof. It wasn't her fault. Nothing bad happened. I just said, don't touch mommy's, boo-boo and that kind of thing. And I just made up my mind that it wasn't worth it. And so I haven't worn makeup on it ever since. But when people would pick on me about it, it hurt. And my mom had to coach me for years that, you can't change that. What you can change is how you respond to it. And so, and she's really the one that taught me, if they're picking on you, a sweet person like you, then they are the one with the problem. And think about their livelihood and where they come from and what kind of parents they have to be, they've got a bully for a kid. And so basically, there's a lot of bullies out there on Facebook. And because you don't agree with them, they get personal. And it's not, it's schoolyard rules. Do unto others. We're just turning into a really hateful society, and it abuses our heart, our minds, what we're filling our minds with, our brains with, and how we treat one another. And it's detrimental to us as human beings. What we're teaching our kids, what our kids are seeing, what we're allowing children to see. And I say we, but it certainly isn't me. But what I see out on the web, the World Wide Web, is devastating. So